And welcome to another episode of Hold, Flip and Dump. My name is Robin.
Hello, I'm Alex.
And today we are sponsored by Token Tracks. That's not true. We're not sponsored by Token Tracks, but they are close friends. Love it. Let's do it. That's what it said.
Nice.
So today we're going to be reviewing 3 tokens, and we're going to be choosing to hold one, flip one, and dump the other. And these 3 tokens we don't hold any of these tokens. It's just 3 tokens that are currently trending, and we know a little bit about maybe 1 or 2 of them this week, but generally speaking, we don't know anything about these tokens. We just review them quickly on the stream, and we make some judgments about them. We don't go into a huge amount of detail, so it's fun to just follow along and see if you agree with our decision. What have you been looking at this week, Alex?
So in terms of news, and I just remember that there's something that we should mention. Let me see if I can find it. Layer 2's outperform Bitcoin. There's this news about the new Runes protocol, so the Bitcoin Layer 2 outperforming Bitcoin itself. So this hasn't really happened on Ethereum, I believe, right? But it is good to see that there is quite a bit of potential on this new protocol. So something quite interesting to follow. It seems that transaction fees on Bitcoin have gone parabolic. People are spending about $100 to $200 for a transaction. And Bitcoin was known for being not too expensive, cheap. It was slow, but it was secure. It was not too expensive, and it was a way of storing value and making transactions, etc. But it looks like since the launch of layer 2s on Bitcoin, yes, those layer 2s are outperforming. People are looking to build on them, but it's taking away a bit of the value from Bitcoin. So it is something to keep an eye out on these things. There's a lot of airdrops happening. There's a lot of new tokens, meme coins that are going into the Bitcoin layer 2s, but there's a bit of a danger of lowering the quality of the blockchain itself if people need to pay a premium to still interact with the largest blockchain. So I'm glad that I remember this, because it's important to mention that while innovation is good, it looks like it could potentially affect negatively to the overall network. What do you think about this, Robin?
I think that this has been happening on Ethereum since its inception. Ethereum, there's always stuff you can do with the value on Ethereum. You can stake Ethereum, which is the most basic version, or you can transfer your assets into layer 2s. You can bridge. You can put value into different protocols. So whenever funds go into Ethereum, or whenever value is transferred into Ethereum, it always gets dissipated throughout the ecosystem, which in contrast to Bitcoin is if you invest in Bitcoin, you just have Bitcoin. There's very little, or historically anyway, there's been very little you can do with that Bitcoin. But now, as we're seeing the rise of things like Runes protocol and other Bitcoin layer 2s, things being built on Bitcoin a bit more, seeing some potentially a Bitcoin NFT or invest in a Bitcoin protocol. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and how the Bitcoin price is affected by that, because suddenly inflows are not just static inflows. They're not just going to push the token up. They could be being used for other things, for more complex investments other than just the token itself. But it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Runes protocol.
There's a bit of a delay there.
Yeah,
Robin.
I think my internet is not performing well. Apologies. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. It just seems that there's a slight delay and it's cutting out a bit.
Right. Okay, let's
That's the
stay with
beauty
it.
of live TV or live internet.
Exactly. This is raw, cutting edge stuff. You don't get Bitcoin news this hot unless it's live and streaming directly into your eyeballs. Okay, I think it's better now. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, let's stay with it.
Cool. I'll move on to a few other news. So Bitcoin layer twos and ordinals, just having non-fungible tokens on Bitcoin. Then to more news on non-fungible tokens. We've got this teaser by Frank Digods. Still a bit of speculation, but this was shared just 2 days ago. Just teasing the community with a potential bridge back to Solana. So again, Digods is one of the largest NFT collections. They were one, if not the largest NFT collection on Solana until they migrated away to Ethereum. And Ethereum has been growing, yes, but not as much as Solana. Obviously, Solana had a lot more room for growth, seeing that it almost was taken out of the crypto landscape last year. And so it's not known whether this is just them realizing they want to go back to somewhere that has lower fees, whether they, I don't know, whether this is just a marketing stunt to bring attention back to NFTs, since NFT values have dropped and continue dropping. But it is interesting to see these news, because there's a lot of speculation on what's going to happen with the collection. And with Digods, there was about 2,000 NFTs that didn't migrate to Ethereum. The Solana community was not happy with this migration, so they stayed. And the value of those NFTs obviously dropped, but people have been sweeping the floor recently. So a lot of people are speculating now that there's an opportunity to get an NFT for about $100, and if they migrate, then doing a 100 or 150x return if this ends up happening. So potential high reward for very little risk with this collection at the moment. Again, NFTs are not in a great place at the moment, so it could be just simply a marketing stunt to drive more attention to the collection. But what are your thoughts on this kind of thing, Robin?
It definitely wouldn't be the first time somebody had pulled a marketing stunt just to get eyes on the collection. But yeah, I think everybody in the NFT space right now is kind of watching numbers cautiously, trying to see what the next play is going to be. I think a lot of people are looking at Rune's protocol on Bitcoin. Solana has had some activity. There's been little bits of activity on layer twos. Base recently has seen some based collections rising, but still, in terms of definite signals, there's not much in the NFT space. Basic signs of life, like a very faint pulse, but nothing to get excited about. But we'll continue to watch what's happening and see whether these NFTs are actually, whether this is a play for eyeballs or whether this is something more than that. We'll keep you updated.
Brilliant. I believe you've got some news on AI as well, and then we can look into a few of the tokens as well.
Yeah, just briefly to take a detour to AI. So Meta's Llama 3, if you've been watching the news this week, they've dropped Llama 3 and they're pushing it on a lot of the Meta platforms. And you can also get it in their smart glasses now. And it's small enough and lightweight enough to be on device. So we're seeing a change in the ecosystem, which is interesting, I think, from Meta being typically more closed and they've been open source in terms of their AI, but their releases have up until this point been relatively closed, but they're definitely opening things up with this release and positioning themselves more as the PC versus the OpenAI's Mac, trying to place themselves as more like the Linux open source alternative, which gives builders more flexibility, gives people more freedom to trust the platform they're building on. A problem with building products on OpenAI is always that you don't know what might happen tomorrow. You're building your house in somebody else's land, which is the analogy that a lot of people use. Whereas with Meta, you can be a bit more confident, which I think is going to bring a lot of developers and builders over to the Meta ecosystem. And we've also had news off the back of that. Apple has acquired a French company for on-device AI processing. So this is the way that Apple seems to be going, which is to have your own personal AI model on your iPhone, on your Mac, which can interact with and store all of your data locally. So it's not sending all of your ideas and all of your intellectual property to Apple's servers somewhere, which is obviously very important for businesses, but also for personal privacy as well. If you care about that kind of stuff, a lot of people don't currently use OpenAI or other models because of that. So it's interesting to see that's the direction Apple seems to be heading in, and maybe in the next few months we'll see iPhones starting to be released or updates to iOS with AI models built in. We'll see.
Yeah,
what are your
I'm
thoughts,
surprised
Alex?
about this because Apple has had Siri for a while, right? Siri has been around for ages, so they were in the AI space, but maybe I'm not sure what value this is adding to their existing development. So, any insights that you can bring on that? Because obviously they've been building Siri, I don't know how many years, but it's been around for ages. And so, what competitive advantages is going to give them to their existing AI development?
That's a good comparison because Siri was bought by Apple back when Steve Jobs was around, and they were acquired as an AI company primarily. So Siri was always meant to be the foundation of Apple AI. But nowadays, obviously, Siri is outdated and pales in comparison to the latest models. So Apple has been caught on the back foot a little bit. But also, we're seeing a backlash against the centralized AIs. We've talked about decentralized AI on this channel before, and maybe Apple is playing more to the privacy crowd, because historically Apple has always been very privacy focused. They were instrumental in removing cookies and stopping people tracking, and they always ask if you want to be tracked on certain apps. So this could play into that narrative, I think, of Apple being privacy first. All of your data on your device. We're not sending this, despite the fact that they've done that with Siri historically, but now they're not sending data to the cloud, and you can trust your personal AI with everything. And that's the power of an AI. If an AI knows your next meeting, it knows your notes, it knows your history, then it's more capable. It's as simple as that. So we're going to start smaller models, I think, and more personalized models. That's where we're heading.
Brilliant. Okay.
Let's move on to tokens.
At some tokens. Yes, you selected 3 tokens this week. What can you tell us?
3 tokens that have been trending lately. The first one, Hedera, which in the last month or so has seen a massive spike. Look at that, gone from just yesterday. It went from 0.0, so that's 9 cents, up to nearly 18 cents, is that? And then it's come back down to around 12 cents. But yeah, huge spike over the last couple of days. Let's see if we can find out why. That'd be interesting to know. Secondly, we've got Commune AI. This is one that I know nothing about, so it'll be interesting to find out what we can. We are very interested in decentralized AI, and so let's see if it's another player in that space. Although historically in the last 3 months, the token price has suffered. It's only been in the last few days that we've seen a little bit of a rally, but let's look into that a little bit more. And then finally, Gala, which I think we've reviewed on this channel before, but I'm not sure I can remember what Gala is. Can you remember anything about Gala, Alex?
They offer, I believe, some infrastructure for entertainment in Web3. So anything from movies, games, music. I don't remember a lot about Gala, so it'll be good to go through it again and just see whether this is a token we should have held back when we reviewed it. So yeah, let's get to it. We can start with Hedera. I don't know much about Hedera. I do know, I think it's a layer 1, and I'm not entirely sure what's good about them. But just before we started the session today, I found these news. Let me just show that up here. Excellent. So HBAR, so the token, Hedera's token, pumps almost a 2x just because of a buy the news type of event. Okay, so it seems there was an announcement. They mentioned that it would, BlackRock was responsible for a 22.3 billion funds move, okay, in Hedera. And they said they were partnering with Arcax, quite popular in the space. But it seems like it wasn't true. It looks like there was no involvement from BlackRock at all. A couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that people can, in Web3, might start leveraging the fact that you could just send stuff to the BlackRock wallet, or not that this is exactly what happened, but just mentioning BlackRock in any of your content will obviously give you a major pump, whether it's on NFTs or on tokens. So by the looks of this was a buy the news type of event. And as we can see in the last, I believe it was just last day we saw it, we've seen that drop in the charts almost instantly, back 50% down from that hype. So it could be this token will just go back to its previous levels of about 30 cents or 10 cents even. And its price-wise is not doing great. It did get to a very healthy stage in 2021, but it's surprising that it's still struggling now to go higher. So I don't know. Let's review Hedera. Let's see what it's about, because maybe there's some fundamentals that we're missing out on. So what do we know about Hedera?
So what is Hedera? Hedera is a decentralized public network where developers can build secure, fair applications with near real-time consensus. The platform is owned and governed by a council of global innovators, including Avery Dennison, Boeing, Deutsche Telekom, DLR Piper, some others, Google, IBM, LG, some very big names. So yeah, it's a layer 1. And yeah, like you were saying before, the HBAR soared over 88% today as Cardassia and Arcax announced a collaboration with the HBAR Foundation to facilitate the tokenization of shares in the BlackRock ICS US Treasury Money Market Fund. And obviously, BlackRock were pretty quick to deny this. So I wonder if there's going to be any consequences. This is a pretty big, bold claim to make, especially if it's not true. So let's see what happens. But I wouldn't want to mess with BlackRock, would you?
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, this is something that happens in Web3 quite a bit. The moment that there's a slight opportunity, you've got that small window to take advantage of a large corporation's brand and just affiliate yourself with anything they're doing. That is something that startups tend to do.
It's possible to get away with it. I think
hasn't played very well for them.
No, it's possible to get away with it if you're like a meme coin, or maybe you're not doxed, or maybe you're not a company. But as soon as you are a registered company and you start claiming things that aren't true, then it's much harder to get away with it. But look at this. I guess this is the BlackRock effect. This massive spike is just people buying the news, and then as soon as it was discredited, we've dropped straight back down. So it goes to show that it really does pump a token's price if you get the backing of BlackRock or somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely. What is interesting about Hedera is on their website, the first feature that you get is RWA tokenization. So this has been a very hot topic in the past few weeks, and very interesting to see how a lot of these layer ones are trying to gain, just market share on the RWA space. Yes, they've got NFTs. NFT volumes are not very attractive on Hedera. Yes, it's a very cheap layer one. It's decentralized and whatnot, but it looks like it was they've been struggling to gain traction in terms of usage compared to other layer ones. So interesting to see that they are trying to promote RWAs in Hedera, and who knows? It would be interesting to see who is building on Hedera and what sort of real world assets are being added to the blockchain.
Yeah, that seems to be the new AI buzzword that people are adding to their blockchain marketing pages. Real world assets. We spoke about this last week as well. There's a couple of blockchains claiming to be the home of real world assets, and that's a bold claim to make, and obviously would be very, very beneficial and worth investing in if a blockchain could pull that off. But we're seeing an explosion of interest in real world assets. I think that it could even be the next asset wave, not necessarily just NFTs. It could expand into tokens as well. We talked about gold last week as well, gold being tokenized, and with the latest pump in gold, those tokens have been doing very well. So will all of this turn into a single blockchain or a series of blockchains that handle real world assets, or will these be spread over existing blockchains and they'll just be an asset class within that blockchain? That's really what we're seeing play out at the moment.
Yeah, let's see. Now, I cannot see anything else that's very, I don't know. I think the website is quite clear. It's layer one. I guess that's something valuable to look into would be TVL. Just let's see what's happening on the DeFi space in Hedera. But apart from that, I'm not really sure if we've got news on who's building RWA products on Hedera. Let's see. They've got 129, almost $130 million in terms of TVL. So not bad. I think it's actually quite good. Okay. I've got nothing else on this. If you're happy with it, then we can move on to Commune AI, and then we can review what we do with.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on quickly to Commune AI, which has also been pumping in the last couple of days. So we've reviewed a lot of AI tokens before as part of Hold Flip Dump. And as I just said, it's something that a lot of blockchain companies add to their landing page to make it sound like they've got AI tools, which they don't. But this is obviously something built around AI, decentralized, permissionless, composable, lots of buzzwords. Commune is a protocol that aims to connect all developer tools into one network, fostering a more shareable, reusable, and open economy. It follows an inclusive design philosophy that is based on being maximally unopinionated. This means that developers can leverage Commune as a versatile set of tools alongside their existing projects and have the freedom to incorporate additional tools that they find valuable. Okay, that doesn't really tell me a lot, but I'm guessing decentralized AI platform, of which there are quite a few now. What Commune adds to the mix, I couldn't say for sure. So what technology are they actually bringing to the table? Is it a marketplace or is it a layer 2 or what?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm on
obviously
the
based on
website
Ethereum
as
because
well,
that's
and I don't seem to find. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I'm just looking at their white paper here, and this seems to be going into a lot of technical detail, obviously, about it's called Modulus here, so I'm guessing they've had a brand change or an update, Commune AI now. So maybe it used to be called Modulus. Modulus provides an open framework for developers to create modular, interactable modules. So this is kind of similar to the promise of SingularityNet. SingularityNet has a market for AIs where it offers AI services which you can interact with in a decentralized way. So maybe that's kind of where they're going with this, trying to create a instead of having one centralized company that serves all of the requests and prompts, you have decentralized services, much in the way like the cloud works, or you have AWS services or whatever, where you can choose which service to interact with. And maybe that's hosted on different computers, servers in the cloud, and you pay for those services, presumably with the blockchain or with ComAI, with the governance token or the utility token. So in a situation where you have a lot of users on your platform, then that's a great case for investing in the utility token, because presumably that will you'll need that, so you need to spend that token to use the services, and therefore people will be buying that token. Therefore, there'll be a lot of liquidity, but that is highly dependent on the usage. So this is a token that you could track with usage on the network. If usage went up, you'd expect the token price to, or liquidity at least, to increase.
Okay. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of competition in this space. Surprisingly, I'm surprised there's so many projects going into this, and that, I mean, these guys have been around since, let me see the token, not that long actually. They launched the token in February 24. Not entirely sure when Commune AI actually went live, but token's been around for a couple of months only. So if it's a new project, it's a bit tricky, because there's other companies that have been around. You spoke about SingularityNet. They've been around for many years, so they've got a head start in terms of AI development and decentralizing that AI. And yeah, I think any new projects coming now without serious funding might struggle a bit. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the reason people are getting involved is because the potential upsides are so great, and there's a lot of appetite for decentralized AI applications now. So that's we're at the stage now where we're seeing lots of competitors coming in a similar way to we saw with the blockchain surge of 2018. Suddenly, everybody had a blockchain company. The same thing is happening to an extent with AI and decentralized AI as part of that. So I think we'll continue to see this massive bubble emerge, and then eventually the bubble will pop and only the toughest will survive. And I guess if you've managed to pick the toughest and you manage to invest in the one that's going to survive the burst of the bubble, then you're going to do very well. But it's a very risky game to invest in decentralized AI right now, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent. So if there's nothing else, let's move on to Gala. We're not new to Gala. Again, we reviewed this a while back, but again, we review a lot of these projects. It's really hard to remember everything. And if I'm not wrong, we did not hold Gala. I don't believe that we ended up saying that we put it on a hold stage. So worth reviewing it. And yeah, because sometimes it's about 3 different tokens, and Gala doesn't make that. then it might be that comparing it to other tokens then it's more attractive. So at the end of the day, everything's relative. So let's go through Gala again and again, and then see what happens in the next few minutes, whether we would hold it or not. What do you remember about Gala?
Yeah. Well, it depends when we reviewed it. I can't remember the dates, but if we didn't choose to hold it and we reviewed it before the end of February, then it seems like we made a mistake, because overall the price has gone up. The price action since, I guess, mid-February has been overwhelmingly positive. There was a huge spike around March, which could have been why we reviewed it. I'm not sure. But then, yeah, if we reviewed it at its peak, the 10th of March, it was 8 cents. It's now gone down to around 5. So still, overall, quite positive. Gala is a gaming-focused layer 1, I believe. Game items are represented as NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so it's just a platform, not a layer 1. Can you remember how it works? I can't, I'm afraid. Let's have a look.
No, I cannot remember. I do know that they started mainly with the gaming space, and then they expanded to music and films. The way they describe themselves as a community uplifting powerhouse, defining new frontiers in Web3 entertainment. So anything from games, I'm guessing they've got some off-the-shelf technology for games. They also have a launchpad. In terms of music, yes, they've got Gala Music and just another music marketplace in Web3. And then it looks like as well they've got that film marketplace. So let's say the Web3 Netflix, a version of Netflix in Web3 really. So it just looks like it's an ecosystem. I mean, as you can see, the registered name is Gala Games. It just happens to be that they expanded to other things. And yeah, apart from that, I would like to know in terms of how that activity affects the token. So if it's a token that's purely a utility token, it's just for community voting rights, etc. What that tells us is that, okay, cool. So people do not really want to participate in governance, but that wouldn't really mean that people do not want to interact with the platform, that they don't want to buy the music, games, and film assets that are created through Gala. If Gala is used for transactions, oh yeah, here we go. Gas token for transactions on the blockchain. That is not good news. And the reason being, from my opinion, it's not good news, is that yes, there's been a pump, but in the wider scheme of things, so I keep getting this pop-up, quite annoying. Look at that, it's flat dead, hasn't recovered. If we look, that looks great. Yeah, in the past 7 days, it's grown, but it's not what it was. Maybe there was a bit of speculation around the 2021 bull market. Maybe that's why the token was up here at 75 cents. But I'm not so convinced that there's a lot of utility and usage of the token itself. And if the token is being used for transactions, my assumption is that it's used to pay for the purchase of these assets. So if there's not a lot of gas being used for these transactions, it's telling me that people are actually not actively buying any assets on Gala. But that's a very long comment just to say that I actually didn't know a lot about Gala up until just now. So maybe I'm completely wrong.
I think you're right. I think from what I can tell, there's Gala Chain, there's Gala Music, there's Gala Games. So it's like you said, an ecosystem. There seems to be a focus on NFTs, which right now is not going to be paying off. And so the real questions, I guess, are the usual questions, which is what is the use of the platform? How many projects are releasing? What is the activity on the chain itself? I still can't find out any information about what type of chain it is, whether it's a layer 2 or some kind of layer 1. I'm not sure. But yeah, any project that has such a big stake in NFTs is potentially a risky bet right now. But let's look at this market cap. $1.7 billion. Wow, that's not small change. Yeah, it's number 67 on the CoinGecko chart. So Gala is, as a token at least, is pretty big news. I guess that's how they're funding all of these markets and all of these projects. But until we see actual growth on those themselves, I wouldn't personally feel comfortable investing in the long-term success of the Gala ecosystem, and I would want to do some more research about the ecosystem itself and the technology behind it. But those are my 2 cents or pence. Any other thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, I'm just trying to explore the platform. So they are NFT wise, they're ERC 1155s, and in terms of, I mean, this is a trending song on the marketplace, and it's sold just barely 21 NFTs. But to be fair, that's in the past 2 days. So find anything, even if it's back stuff. So, for example, we've got, in terms of assets for sale. Welcome back, Robin. Part of a live setting. Okay, so NFTs like this going for, is this dollars or Gala? Because if it's $110, that might be a bit expensive for in-game assets. So yeah, I'm not able to see whether people are actually buying these assets. You need Gala to buy these assets. So if you don't have Gala, then you cannot buy them. But if people are not buying them, then you know what I'm saying? So it's chicken and egg situation, I think. So in short, super interesting project. Great that they're giving a platform to different entertainment projects in music, games, and film. But still not super convinced. Not very convinced about this. But I don't know if you've got any other comments, or we should move on to a decision.
Definitely one to watch. Yeah. Maybe we should move on to decision before my internet completely dies. So I think it's my turn to go first. So I'll make a call on, so to recap, Hedera versus Commune AI versus Gala. This week I'm going to hold Hedera, because I know that they might have had a little bit of a marketing upset this week, but I also think that we've looked at them before. They've got some serious backing from some, like, as they say, global innovators, UCL, Google, Deutsche Telekom, some really big names, Boeing. And I think in terms of long-term investments, we can see they've been around since 2019. There's been a gradual stability during the bear market, and then recently we've seen the price go up. I think this is, obviously it's not a safe bet, but I think this is one of the safer investments, not financial advice. That would be my hold. And in terms of flip, I think might be a good option for buying low, selling high. We've seen the last month has been downward trending, but there has been this uptick in the last couple of days. And if you could time it right, maybe in time with some kind of decentralized AI narrative, it might be possible to flip that. And then I'm going to dump Gala, because I think that right now they are married very much to the NFT narrative, and It could be 2 months, it could be 6 months before that picks up, and it might, of course, it might never pick up. But I think that it's a risky strategy to invest in any NFT-focused company right now. So that would be my dump. No hard feelings, Gala. I'm sure, like, it seems like a good ecosystem, and I love what they're doing, but I wouldn't feel comfortable investing at this point in time. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, exactly the same. So I would hold Hedera. Again, price-wise, hasn't been doing great, but if they're able to capitalize on the RWA movement and they just bring usage to the network through that, then it might gain quite a bit of traction. So I would hold Hedera and see what happens with that new trend. In terms of flipping, I'll do the same. So Commune AI, price doesn't look great. It's been crushing ever since they launched. But you know, the AI narrative and the decentralized AI narrative is also one that is quite interesting. And I'm not convinced they would win against the likes of Singularity or Fetch AI and that kind of thing. But still a great opportunity to be able to flip this token. And I'm sure that they will gain some traction and they will build a strong ecosystem and community. So I would flip Commune, Gala. Essentially, the same reasons as you, Robin. Not a great time for NFTs. Maybe still a bit early to get back into it. And it's a ecosystem or platform, a whatever that's focused only on NFTs. That's a tough play, very tough. So same thing. No, nothing personal against Gala. I think it's great to have a dedicated platform that empowers creators, regardless of being on the gaming, film, music, even books. You know, at some point, hopefully, they will also do something for creative writing as well. And you know, that will make them a great platform to engage with. But at this stage, it's not great. So hold Hedera, flip Commune AI, and then dump Gala. I think that this doesn't happen very often, right? Where we actually agree 100% on.
It's been a while.
these
It's been a
choices.
while. Yeah. We'll see whether that turns out to be the correct decision. Like we normally do, we will review our holds in the next few weeks or months and come back and see whether it's been a good decision or not. In this case, yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see. Well, I think the risk is really of not holding the right one or missing out on an opportunity. We're not actually buying these tokens, so it's not a real opportunity. But yeah, it will definitely come across these projects again. It's going to be interesting to see what they've developed since then, or whether they've joined the endless list of rugged NFT or rugged crypto projects. We'll see. All right, so I guess
excellent. So we made it through all these technical hurdles, but you know, we made it to the end, and more next week. So thank you so much.